take a look at the front pages for you this morning, and according to the Mail on Sunday, Liz Truss will launch her leadership bid in the next few days. She's going to have to get her skates on. She's expected to reverse Rishi Sunak's controversial national insurance hike, to at least pledge to, should she get in.
The Observer leads with Boris's supposed bid to sabotage Sunak. As the race continues, one party member has accused the Prime Minister of putting unsuitable MPs in middle and junior posts to try and cause maximum problems for his successor.
Sunday Times says the Tories are tearing themselves apart over tax.
And there's a new battle to save Brexit, that's according to the Sunday Express.
According to The Independent, experts are investigating the tax affairs of the new Chancellor and Tory leadership hopeful Nadhim Zahawi.
And the Sunday Telegraph says Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt are calling for tax cuts. The paper also reveals Mr Javid plans to scrap the controversial national insurance hike, which was introduced during his time as Health Secretary.
Keir calls for a general election.
Again?
That's in the Sunday Mirror. I mean, that's hardly a new headline, Sunday Mirror people. The Labour leader says changing the person at the top isn't going to clean out the rotten culture from throughout their party.
And the Sun on Sunday leads with Christine McGuinness's marriage crisis. The Star has opened up for the first time about her relationship with her husband Paddy, saying they are having a difficult time.
If you're having marriage... Now look, I'm no expert on this, but if you're having marriage problems...
Spread them all over the front page of the Sunday newspaper.
Is talking to the papers the right way to go about sorting things out?
I understood.
Well, Paddy McGuinness, you'd know. You'd recognise him.
What?
He was in Thingy Nights with Phoenix Nights with Peter Kay, and then he's gone on to do sort of games.
You're like one of those people who says, he was in Thingy, with Thingy.
With Thingy.
But there are people who think the more you say Thingy, the more you're actually going to get it.
Yeah.
No.
So, no, you know him. I've no idea who she is.
No.
Well, apart from Mrs. McGuinness.
Well, she's now on the front page of the
Okay. Let's chat through some of those now with the author and broadcaster Amy Nichol and anthropologist Mariana Hotter. Good morning, you two.
Good morning.
We'll have a quick hit of politics before we move on to something else.
Yeah, we were going to do Thingy and Thingy, and we decided that we don't care about Thingy and Thingy.
That Thingy is going to be the next leader of the Tory party.
Oh no, these thingies are important thingies.
All right.
Yeah.
However, Anne, I think you'll know. No likey, no lighty. Paddy McGuinness?
Oh.
Okay.
No.
I don't watch the right programmes, Claire.
No.
Breakfast tumbleweed.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh dear. Now there you go. Worth a try.
It was worth a try. I do appreciate it.
I do. I've seen that
Right.
one. Let's talk health secretaries, should we? Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt.
Yes. So these are more contenders for the running of the country. Currently, nominations 7. Although actually official putting yourself forward to be the leader of the Conservative Party opens tomorrow evening, closes on Tuesday. They're expecting probably maybe 16 people to put themselves forwards. So far 7, 2 of which have kind of made their statements of intent, what they plan to do. Sajid Javid, former Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt,
Also former Health Secretary.
former pretty much many secretaries. He's been around a while, hasn't he? And obviously the question is, how many of them genuinely think that they really are kind of shortlist contenders? How many of them are just putting their names out there so there's a bit more public recognition, so perhaps they can say to the people who do become the shortlisted candidates, look, I've got people in the party who support me, people know who I am, I should definitely be in your cabinet. Hey, maybe he's Health Secretary, Education Secretary.
But it's interesting because out of that list, I can tell you now, Grant Shapps thinks he's going to get the job. Nadhim Zahawi thinks he's going to get the job. Jeremy Hunt thinks he's going to get the job. Sajid Javid thinks he's going to get
Rishi
the job.
Sunak thinks
Rishi Sunak thinks, yeah. I mean,
Suella Braverman is also...
Suella Braverman.
Coming out
Everybody's
pretty
talking about
confident.
that.
yeah, but whether she actually thinks she's
Oh,
going
I think she's thought she's going to have the
I think
job.
she
She
should.
was
I mean,
very
he's
young girl.
quite far right on on the right of centre party. So the people who are like hard Brexiteers, who feel like Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak sort of failed at delivering what Brexit promised, might be inclined to go for Suella Braverman. She's been sort of tested, I guess, as the Attorney General. But the Telegraph are kind of running with the suggestions that Javid and Hunt are going to base their kind of pledge around what they would do differently around tax. Obviously, we've got this cost of living crisis, we're facing inflation, but also stagnation, beautiful combination of stagflation, where basically, if you're spending lots of money but not making lots of money through tax, and people are tightening their belts, so we're not actually going out to restaurants, we're not buying as many things in the shop. You know, one of the other stories that's running in the papers this morning is that people are filling up less at fuel.
Yes.
Kind of, you know, we're all trying to find ways to kind of make the budget,
But for the
household
moment, the
budgets work.
contenders have to appeal to the parliamentary party members, not to us. And a lot of them want to hear the words tax cut, don't they?
Well, that's it. So the question of is this really a Conservative government? Because the tax burden is an almost 70-year high. Rishi Sunak increased the national insurance thresholds, the rates, just in the spring statement, or that's when it came in anyway. So Javid and Hunt are both saying that they would reduce corporation tax. So that's the tax that businesses are paying. They might reverse the national insurance hike, so then it would go back to how it was before. And the question is, does that mean that you kind of stimulate growth?
Yes.
Because businesses can
That's the idea.
Well, then
invest
why
a bit
doesn't
more,
Rishi do it?
people can spend a bit more.
Because Rishi's very concerned about the debt and the deficit.
Yeah. So obviously
isn't it?
we've come out of 2 years of pandemic, we've still got all those impacts, and however much people want to believe that Brexit is sorted, it isn't. It's still costing the UK economy an awful lot of money, and it's in many ways, well, it is at the moment.
I don't really blame. This is happening all over the world, though, isn't it? I don't think you can blame
It is.
Brexit.
I think we've got double shock though in the UK, because we're trying to get used to whatever, or kind of work out whatever the new normal is. So businesses are still trying to work out what the paperwork
But
is.
Liz
how they
Truss,
get their
Liz
staff, all that
Truss,
stuff.
who
It is
interestingly
more
hasn't
expensive.
actually declared herself yet, but I think she's going to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I think it might be because she was in Indonesia,
Yes,
actually
she
doing
hasn't
some
got
work,
back yet.
unlike the rest of the government.
Well,
she was
true.
flying back.
I thought she'd already come back, but she has said that she is going to get Brexit done, basically, hasn't she? She's going to continue Boris's Brexit journey.
Well, I think everybody has to continue. I mean,
Go on,
we're
Amy.
gonna
No, let Amy get a word in.
Sorry, go on.
Well, no, the only thing I wanted to add to that is that there's a bit of a dispute over whether you can have tax cuts without growth. And so a lot of people think that all this talk of tax cuts is more of an electoral bribe than having any real substance or possibility that it could actually happen in practice. One of the things that I do think needs to, but again, I don't know whether this will appeal to the public, maybe not so much the Conservative members, is that Sajid Javid has specifically said that he would cut that national insurance hike, which I think has really hit working people where it hurts. So I think that's a really appealing possibility from him. But again, is it an electoral bribe? Who knows?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
it's
everything
difficult,
is at this
isn't it?
point, isn't it?
What about the Sunday Times and looking at Boris Johnson?
Aha,
Another scandal, if you like.
Another scandal. What number is this now? Shall we make it number 550? So, Boris Johnson lobbied for a job for a young woman who claims he abused his power to have a sexual relationship with her. So basically, Boris has got one of his lady friends, attempted to get one of his lady friends a job in Parliament when he was London Mayor. The appointment was blocked by Kit Malthouse, who said they did have an inappropriately close relationship. There's a very damning recording of Boris discussing this, available to listen to, and it just all whiffs of a Jennifer Curry type situation. Again, also, recently Boris pushing for Carrie to get that $100,000 a year publicly funded role. And I think the most damning part of all this, even though it shouldn't be a surprise to me
do we
at this
care,
stage,
though? But do we
care?
care? I mean, it's like, it doesn't
Especially
affect
now.
us. Yeah,
I guess that's the thing. And Number 10 have said, look, this is irrelevant now. But I don't think it is, because this is using taxpayer money again. And we can see where our money was wasted.
Just because there was a relationship of some sort, I mean, it might have just been friends. I'm just saying, just because there was a
Well,
relationship
it doesn't sound like
doesn't
they're
mean
friends.
she wasn't suitable for a job.
No, hang on. The thing about this story, though, is that the woman confronted Boris Johnson in 2017 and said, you abused your power in order to have a sexual relationship with me, which actually wasn't as consensual as it should have been. She was just starting out. She was in her early 20s. He was 43, had just been made London mayor, and she wanted to prove herself. And suddenly, the eyes of the mayor are on her, and she feels like she was railroaded into a relationship that she wasn't comfortable with, and that's why she confronted him. And I think for me, that's a greater concern than the fact that he then wanted to get her a job.
Yeah.
Which is seedy, but actually the other bit is much more,
If indeed
dark and
It's true.
Precisely.
Yes.
No, yeah. And also, I think the other key point here for me is she was a graduate in her 20s and he was married with 4 children. It's just another character red flag.
It's the Me Too power imbalance. How much can you say no? You don't need to be, held at knife point to not have the ability to actually be consenting.
Well, but then that strays into the legal issues, doesn't it? And
So she's anonymous because it's undergoing legal
well, she'd have, I think.
inquiry
it is actually being investigated now, is it?
in some way or another. I don't know.
Let's leave it to the investigators for the moment,
Yeah, so
then I
that
guess.
might be wise. Now Camilla.
Oh.
Camilla, we're getting we're getting a lot of this on Camilla, aren't we? Sort of insights and.
Our future queen consort.
I love the fact we keep saying queen consort.
Yeah, that's Queen.
It's queen.
Yeah, she'll be
because
queen.
it's like we're using it now, so people
Well, we
don't
didn't
think
say
it's.
King Philip, did we?
No, he
We said
wasn't, though.
No, he was.
Wasn't
consort.
king. Yeah, but he was prince consort.
Oh, so it's just going to be slightly different.
But it's either king and queen. Isn't it?
Yeah, when the king becomes king,
King's
his
wife.
wife is the queen. Full stop.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Queen Camilla.
The consort is just a description, but it's
Yeah.
it means the consort bit means she's queen because she's married to a king.
Yeah.
The same as Queen Elizabeth's mother and father. He was King George, and because his wife, Queen Elizabeth, who we all knew as the Queen Mother, because she was married to him, she became queen. And when they were king and queen, they were king and queen. Nobody called her queen consort.
Well, our future queen,
Yeah, thank
There
you.
you go.
beg my pardon, has a new documentary coming out Wednesday, July 19th at 9 p.m, where we are going to see a whole new to Camilla. So we're going to learn that she used to enjoy sneaking some crafty cigarettes with Jeremy Clarkson. She loves a risque and naughty joke. That's not news to me because I've
I
always
can imagine.
Yes, I can
sensed
imagine.
that side to Camilla. And she loves invigorating cold water swimming,
What?
which is very now, isn't it? She loves a bit of wild swimming, a brisk.
Well, I suppose if you're brought up in the posh countryside, you're what they used to
Racing.
call a horsey family. There's a lake there. You plunge in, don't you? It's all part of that hale and hearty posh
Exactly.
countryside set,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, remember when she used to be that woman and she was kind of spoken of in hushed terms and it was all a bit seedy. Now here she is with her dogs on the front cover of Country Life. Oh, what jollies! They're wearing pearls.
And she was guest editing Vogue, I think.
Well, this time she's
Or half
guest
as queen.
editing Country Life magazine, and a camera crew has followed her around. Interestingly, no one seems to have an issue with this, though. Not like the Netflix deal of Meghan and Harry. Is it not too dissimilar? Camera crews following her, guest editing magazines.
I guess she's probably not being paid for it, though.
She's a working royal.
She is.
I think, crucially, she'll be kind of quite pro-royal in the stance. There's not going to be anything done.
Who knows?
That's the difference. All the royalists are up in arms because Harry and Meghan might be going, don't really like that royal way of doing things. Whereas she's all very jolly with her terriers.
Well,
I think it's important that the country gets to know her.
It's a cynical tone of voice.
I know it is a little bit, isn't it? Well, it's not an accident, is it? That she's,
it's a
being
PR
pulled into
exercise.
position and it's a
PR.
PR
Yeah, but it's
exercise.
important we get to know who she is because one day she will be queen.
What happened to, it was kind of all that Princess Diana versus Camilla. You're either Team Diana or Team
Do you know
Camilla. Everyone's forgotten now.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody's forgotten, but I think it's so long ago, and doesn't life have to move on?
I think it does, yeah. And obviously, I think she's sort of proven Camilla's sort of proven herself as a good granny.
I mean, I know there are people
good
watching because
stepmom.
whenever we talk about Camilla, there are people watching right now. Good morning, who will not forgive Camilla, and that's just how.
But it makes it sound. But that also, I
makes it
hate
sound
to
like
say-
it's her fault.
It was her fault.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't her.
Well, I have a theory that actually, in hindsight, a lot of people appreciate that the Charles and Camilla love affair is one of the truest love stories.
Yeah.
I think they have an absolutely inspirational relationship, actually, which has withstood the test of
It
time.
seems to work, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it really does.
works, and she seems to make him happy
They
at
should
last.
have always been together.
Spent
That's
many
the.
years
Yeah.
very unhappy, And I think it's just like the boys feel about her. I think they rather like the fact that she makes their dad happy.
Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, I think we all need that.
Yeah, we all want that. Yeah, I'd much rather have this conversation than one about some couple
Having a row.
Having a row.
Yes, quite right. Well, let's not talk
Make
about
it
the
work.
weaknesses.
Be flexible.
Good on
Find
you,
people
Camilla.
you love and support you.
Right, we're out of time, you two, but thank you very much indeed. We shall see you a little bit later on.
For having us.
Yeah, where's the
Look forward
hottest
to
you've ever
that.
been? Hottest, where you know you've been on holiday and you've had to endure really.
India probably.
Yeah. Can you remember how hot it was?
Probably about 38.
How about you?
This studio Thursday night with Dan won.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky. It's usually. I mean, it's so
Freezing.
cold.
It gets very hot in here.
Oh, I wish. Wayne says he was in Tunisia, 43 degrees.
That's hot. And David from North Wales says, I'm currently in Hangzhou, southeast China, where at 1:20 in the afternoon it is 39 degrees and it feels like 49 in the humidity. It is absolutely roasting, so I'm staying inside and watching GBNEWS.
Quite right too. How do you sleep in that heat? Because I'm struggling to sleep at the moment, and I've got windows open, fans on, the whole shebang. And yet Barry says you both look perky this morning.
Well, there you go.
Barry. Lots of makeup, lots of tea,
Yeah.
and very uncomfortable seating.
It literally keeps you on the edge of your seat here. These very high stills. There's nothing you can do except be perched at the end of your seat.
Oh, and Sue was watching yesterday. Your programme yesterday was absolutely great. Is it not always, Sue?
Yeah.
And that's what I like about you two, your sense of humour, but also your unbiased, serious side. Like, you've got to have a bit of a sense of humour,
Yeah.
I think, especially in the morning.
Especially at the moment with all these politicians having a go at each other.
Oh, get a bit grim. But of course, we love to hear from you. It's really important. We love the emails. Robin, who works on our emails, is brilliant.
Brilliant.
Brings them through by the bucket load.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And we love to see them. We really do. It cheers us up.